Welcome to the Sky Spirit channel. If you want to manifest the love of your life into your life, then I'm going to show you how today. And this is because we're about to experience a full moon with a partial eclipse. It's actually a blood full moon with a partial eclipse as well. So it's a really powerful time for manifestation. And it's a Friday as well, which is brilliant for manifesting love into your life. So I thought this is the ideal time to launch the first of my manifestation series with a manifesting love spell. Now, if you're sort of recoiling from the word spell, please don't. A manifestation is a spell. I use the word spell because I'm a witch. You could use the word prayer or the law of attraction or anything like that. What we're doing is we're manipulating energies using our intention to bring something to us. I know that this spell works from personal experience, and that also leads me to a little bit of a word of warning. This is a really powerful spell, and it's important to use it wisely. And I say this because not because you're going to get carried off into the depths of hell or anything like that, at least I hope not, but what can happen, and what I actually personally experienced using the spell a little bit unwisely, was that it can become so powerful that the bond between you becomes very, very difficult if one of you wants to leave that relationship. So it can have repercussions for both people. So just be very careful. Now, I've actually made a download for you of this spell. It's actually 3 spells, and I'll explain why. This is available on my website. It's free. It's yours to download. If you want to stop the video, go to the website and download it now so you can follow along. That's perfect. The website is skyspirit.co.uk. Go to the YouTube page on there, and there's halfway down that page you'll see I think it says Astral Witches download or something like that. Or no, it's Love Manifestation download, but there's a button that says download, and you can download this as a PDF. Now, I say it's 3 spells, and the reason for that is we're working with love magic. Some witches, some practitioners of magic won't touch love spells because they say it's all black magic, because you're manipulating the will of another person, of a second party who isn't privy to what's going on. Well, you see, I'm a little bit, no, I don't think so with that, because you can do 3 types of love spell. First one, you can do a love spell to increase your self-love. So that's definitely very much white magic. The second type, and the one that we're going to do today, is a love spell where you don't have a target in mind. So it's like to bring the love of your life into your life, but you're not focusing on a specific person. Now, some practitioners will say that's still darker magic because you're still influencing somebody who doesn't know they're being influenced, but I don't see it like that. And the third type is the love spell where you're targeting somebody who you actually know, and that is probably the darkest form, and I'm pretty much on board with that being quite dark, because, you know, you're influencing somebody's opinion. And what if you're you know, making somebody fall in love with you who is already with somebody else, and the disruption that can brings bad karma. Now, this Wiccans will work with the rule of 3, which means that whatever you put out into the universe will return to you 3-fold. So you've got to be really careful when you're meddling with this type of thing. But at the same time, I look at magic as, all right, so it's not magic that's either black or white or grey. It's like if I gave you a shovel, you could use it to dig a hole and plant a beautiful plant, or you could use it to dig somebody's grave. If I gave you water, you could use it to sustain life, or you could drown in it. If I gave you a spade, you could use it to I don't know, again, plant a plant, or you could kill somebody with it. But it's, you know, it's not the magic isn't the problem, it's the way that it's used. So what I want you to do is make sure that everything you do is with good intentions in your heart. And I want you to know that it's the right thing. And that doesn't mean just sort of convincing yourself that it's the right thing because it's what you want. Because we've all been in that position where we really want somebody to notice us, or we really want to drag them to us. But it's not ethical, not really. So just look into your heart honestly and see what those intentions are. Are they for the good of both parties? Now, the reason that I've included the 3 spells in the download is that, yeah, even though I've said targeting a love spell at somebody is pretty dark, then it's your responsibility. So we'll say that it's there for your information. I don't recommend that you use it. Everything that you do is done by your own free will, and it's at your risk. I should say this show is purely for entertainment purposes, and it's up to you what you do with the information that I'm providing you with. And by no means am I suggesting that you start casting spells and doing all sorts of things like that. It's entirely up to you. It's a free country. However, I believe in the saying, do what you wilt, as long as it doesn't harm anyone. So if you know you're not hurting somebody, then I would say pretty much go for it. Right, so I'm literally going to follow through what I've written on here, because everything that I'm going to tell you, everything that I'm going to show you, I've included in the download. So I thought it'd be really useful to use this to actually structure what I'm showing you, because otherwise I tend to go off on a tangent and you really don't want to listen to me leather on this channel. If you've come from watching me do a tarot reading, you'll know that I'm usually on in the mornings live doing tarot. And this is the first time that I've done some spell work online. I think I've mentioned on the tarot video that I am a practicing witch. So I'm going to let you see a little bit of my world here. Actually, this is an interesting time to just add this little bit of extra info, because I have been asked by people, why on earth at your age have you started doing a tarot channel? And I guess that's something that I really asked myself as well. And this is the best answer I was able to come up with for myself. And also, I think it rings true. It is the truth. Basically, last May, I was given a cancer diagnosis. So I had a stage 3 cancer diagnosis, which was really shocking. And I did have surgery and I did have chemo. And hopefully, I'm healthy now. But it was one of those things where suddenly you realize that you might not have time to do the things that you want to do, and things that I'd wanted to do a tarot channel because I've read tarot for years and years and years, and also been a practicing witch for a long time. But I've never put it out there, and especially not doing it on, a public platform, because I was so caught up in what people would think about me, what people would say, what friends who saw it would think, would people laugh? And when you get a diagnosis like that, suddenly you don't give a toss. It's like, really, it doesn't matter. So my advice to you is, without drawing any cards to advise you, if there's something you want to do, don't care what anybody thinks of you or says about it, because when it really doesn't matter. And that diagnosis for me is almost like a blessing, because it's made me realize that I was holding back so much and not doing things that I wanted to do, and maybe I would have run out of time and never done them. So fingers crossed, I'll be around a lot longer, but I'm certainly living my life in a much better way. And if you're watching this and you know me and you're laughing and you're going to say, oh, that's awful, well, I don't care. Okay. Right. So again, I'll stop blithering on and we'll get on with this. Right. All right. So thinking about love as an energy, because that's what we're focusing on. Obviously, it's so important to us as living sentient beings. It can be the most important thing in our lives. And there's different types of love, obviously, the love we have for our children or animals, but that romantic love, that intimate love, is something that a lot of us seek. We can have it and it can go horribly wrong, or we can never find it, or, you know, it can be fantastic. It can make us feel on top of the world, or it can sometimes break us completely. And heartbreak is, you know, it's one of those things that is probably the most, one of the most awful experiences to go through. A proper heartbreak can literally feel like the end of the world to you. You know, and even on top of that, if you're betrayed in love, that feeling is, you know, it's a real shock to the system, and it's a really dreadful thing to go through. And so it always amazes me that even though it can hurt us so much, we literally can't stop looking for it. And as a lot of people all the time when I'm doing tarot, the most common question is, will I find Mr. Right or Mrs. Right? You know, when is love coming into my life, and that sort of thing. So as well as this Friday being a great time to manifest love, I thought it's really, you know, it's something that people want to do as well. So hence why I'm here. So love is an energy. And like any other energy, if you're a witch, you believe that energy can be worked with. So it can be amplified, it can be directed, and it can be manipulated. So that's where you come into the realms of how a love spell works. So basically, you're going to use your intention to bring love to you. Now we're going to work with the, as I said, the spell that's not targeted at a specific individual. We're just looking at manifesting love into our lives. So we're going to draw love, a new love, into our lives. Right. One further thing before we start there, I've just underlined it on my little guide here, is just really think carefully when you're choosing which spells to use, because the most popular way to use love magic is to target somebody that, you know, that you want in your life. But that is also the most risky way to work with love magic. So just choose wisely, I would say. Right, okay, so there are things that you're going to need to do this. And the first thing is a piece of paper, like this kind of size. It needs to be big enough to be folded twice over. Any sort of paper will do. Parchment paper is lovely, but it's not necessary. You can use any paper. With all these tools, it's like, it's lovely to have nice things, but it's not essential. What's essential is your intention and the way that you focus, and what's in your heart and what's in your gut when you do the spell. So there's no necessity to have parchment or to have the most beautiful expensive candles and things like that. You use what is to hand for good magic. I mean, if you think about, people have been working magic since we lived in caves, and you know, they didn't have magicalsupplies.com where they got all the best things from, and you know, they just used what they had. So it's important to know that, and improvise as well, because a manifestation or a spell, I'm going to keep calling it a spell, you might want to say manifestation, it's very personal to you. So just think, you can improvise, you can use things that are more poignant, that mean things to you. So you could swap things in and out here. Right, so we've got our paper. Again, I'm just following through the guidelines that I've written for you here. We need a jar. Now this is actually a jar spell, and it's a specific way of creating a thing that becomes the focus of the spell, and it's also like a thing that you can look at or you can put somewhere. And what we're going to be doing is using a jar to create the spell. So there's the jar that I've chosen. Importantly, it's got a heat-proof lid because it's metal, because we're going to end up with candles on top of here. So choose a jar that's got either a metal top or perhaps a glass top, but make sure it's level as well, so that we know that, you know, your candles aren't going to topple off, because you've got to be really careful with candles, obviously. You'll need a red pen. Again, this is the time when I'm going to say I'm using a crappy Bic. If you wanted to use a beautiful feather dipped in, you know, wonderful, wonderful red paint that's made from crushed raspberries or whatever it is, please feel free to go ahead if that's important to you. But for me, a red Bic is going to do just the same job. We've got 2 candles. Now, usually you'd use red candles for a love spell. I'm using creamy coloured candles, and really that's okay, because you think, right, pink candles are for friendship and sort of that friendly type of love. Red candles are for passionate love. White candles can be for pure love. I also only had white candles, so it works out quite well. But as I said, remember, you can swap things in. It's your intention that matters. We've also got some red thread or ribbon, and I'm using embroidery thread. That works really well. You need something which we call a tag log. A tag log is something that is it marks the spell as your own. Now, you could use a photograph of yourself for this. You could use your signature on a piece of paper. You could use your hair, nail clippings. You could use a small piece of your clothing. What I'm going to use is, that's a little bit of my hair, and I've tied it with some red embroidery thread. And it's almost like, if you use this analogy, it's like when you are working with a bloodhound to track somebody down, and you'd give them a smell of the person's sock or something like that, so they get the trail. This is going to give your spell the trail to you. So it's like naming it. You know, it's going to make sure that it brings the love to you. So that's your locking in device, shall we say. We've also got, I've got some oil for anointing my candle. Now, you could use jasmine, rose, or lavender. There's also a specific magic oil called Come To Me oil, which is available from a lot of magical supply stores, which is also really good. I've got some lavender oil here, which I'm going to use. It's just an essential oil. And have we forgotten anything? Oh, matches or a lighter. Again, I've got a trusty Bic lighter here. I've also got some scissors. I use them for cutting my paper into a square, and I'll use it for cutting the threads and things like that. All this is listed in the instructions, so don't think that you're having to memorize everything that I'm going to say to you here. And notice that I'm referring to the instructions as well, because I want to make sure that I get everything in the right order for you. Right, so once you've got your essentials, you then choose some additional items. So you need, what we're working on is a 3-6-9 sort of structure. So everything is a total of 3, a total of 6, or a total of 9. So they've got a list of things, and you choose out of those things to total 3, 6, or 9. So first of all, cubeb berries. Now these are like a spice berry. You can buy them online. So choose 3, 6, or 9 of those berries, and that counts as 1 item in your jar, because what we're going to do is we're going to put those things into the love jar. A small piece of orris root, again, you can find that online. You can buy it in a Whole Food shop. That counts as 1 item. Spikenard herb, again, get it from a Whole Food shop or Holland & Barrett or somewhere like that, counts as 1 item. 2 cloves, that's one of the things I've chosen to use. Don't know if you can see them. 2 cloves, they count as 1 item. So the 2 cloves together count as 1 item. Damiana, again, that's like a herb type thing. That counts as 1 item. Juniper berries, choose 3, 6, or 9 juniper berries. They count as 1 item. 2 rose heads, or the petals of 2 rose heads. They count as 1 item. 2 vanilla pods counts as 1 item. 2 pieces of rose quartz. That's what I've chosen for my spell. That counts as 1 item. And 2 pieces of lodestone. And if lodestone is like a natural magnet, if you can't get hold of that, you can actually buy them on Amazon and stuff. But if you can't get hold of that, you can use just normal magnets. And that's what I've got, 2 normal magnets there. Right, so those are the additional items. So first of all, let's talk about your preparation for your spell. Now, I would suggest that you do your spell in the evening. Not because it's not going to work if you do it in the day, but it's just that sense of occasion. Like if you can do this under the moon or where you can see the moon, then it's just going to add that sort of atmosphere to it. And when there's atmosphere, it's sort of building your emotion. And that's what's important for this spell. It's not the actual atmosphere, it's the fact that it's going to build the intent in you. It adds that sort of, this is what the, you know, the attire is for. If you choose to wear something nice, or you've got a specific sort of piece of jewelry that you wear when you're spell working, like I have with this little head thing here, it just adds to your intention. It makes it easier for you to focus your intention. So I would suggest that you do this at night. So when we're talking about preparations, I'm talking about what you do in the day preceding that evening. So you're going to spend the day focusing on your intention. And what that means with regards to bringing this love into your life is thinking about the future, visualizing how that future will be with your potential partner. Now, don't try to see their face, because remember, this is a spell that isn't targeted at anybody specific. So try not to start seeing, you know, your latest crush. Try to make it as faceless as possible. So think about that future with that potential partner. Imagine yourself as part of a happy couple. Think about how that will really feel. Try to imagine how it will feel to be truly happy with somebody. Sort of let that sink into your heart chakra area and imagine how that will feel to be part of that happy couple. Think about that throughout the day. You might choose to sort of burn some incense. Rose is a brilliantly romantic incense to burn. It's actually what I've got burning over in the background here with my protection candle and selenite crystal. So you can burn some incense just to put yourself in the mood for l'amour. You can also use some meditation music if that helps you to focus your intention. What I would say is steer clear of anything that's got lyrics, because that tends to influence what you're thinking and tends to influence, you know, how you're thinking about things. So just use something instrumental or that sort of lovely sounds of nature meditation music. So as the evening draws in, I want you to run a lovely bath if you're able. If you don't have a bath, or if you can't use a bath, then, you know, a shower or even just a good wash is as good as anything. What you're doing is you're using intention to cleanse your body of energetic influences and to make yourself pure to go into the spell work. If you're having a bath, which is ideal, use some Himalayan pink salt if you have it, or sea salt, or a couple of drops of your essential oil that you intend to use in the spell, or some rose oil, and put that into the bath. While you lie in the bath, again, think about that, how it will feel, how wonderful it will be for you to be with this partner, and imagine yourself forward in time in that position. While you're lying there in the warmth and relaxing, and you can do this in the shower as well, while you're standing there all relaxed with the water cascading down you, I want you to imagine your energy reaching out into the universe, reaching out, and your consciousness, so yourself, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So you're like expanding yourself to fill more space than your actual body, because we are more than our physical bodies. We are a whole raft of consciousness, and we are all connected as well. So I want you to expand to be limitless. And then when you're in that expanded state, I want you to, if you're in the bath, pull out the plug. If you're in the shower, stop the shower and just stand or lie there and let the water drain away. And as it drains away, I want you to imagine any negativity or any doubts that you have about finding the true love of your life. I want you to imagine them disappearing down into the drain and leaving you. So all you are left with are the positive vibes and the excitement, because it is exciting, because this works, trust me. Right, so after your spell, you're ready to work. After your bath, you're ready to work your spell. So if it does resonate with you, now would be the time to put your robes on, or your gown, or the jewelry that you've chosen to wear. You can work sky clad. Some witches do, which is naked. I sometimes do. I'm not for this video because I don't want to get banned by YouTube just yet. As I've just started, it's probably wise not to. Follow your intuition and dress how you wish. If you wish just to remain in your leggings, then do so. It's about how it makes you feel rather than it having any particular magical use, if you see what I mean. Right, so the best way to work a spell like this is to work with protection, and the best way to do that I know is to ask for protection from the universe and to also work in a circle of salt. Now, usually when I work this spell and others, I would cast a circle of salt on my laminate floor or sometimes outside. I've got a lovely place outside where I can do spell work. So I just cast, I use sea salt. You can use Himalayan pink salt. You could use any type of salt. So make a nice big circle unbroken on the floor. This is going to have to be big enough for you to sit in it and for you to bring everything that you need into it with you. So make sure that it's big enough for those things. If you're not able to sit on the floor in a circle of salt, that's perfectly all right too. What I would suggest that you do is simply light some incense and do a small prayer, or what's it called when you ask for protection? I forget, my head goes blank when I'm doing these things. You say, just ask the universe to protect you. What I'm going to be showing you is how I would use a circle of salt, but if you're not using that, then we'll come back to that. I'll put something in the description, some little sort of spell thing to use if you're not using the circle of salt, but bear with me. If you're using the circle of salt, let's continue. Right, so you're going to pour your circle of salt onto the ground. If you're working outside, that would be fantastic to work under the moon, but if it's bad weather, it's perfectly okay to do this in the privacy of your own home. So I've written these words down. I'm going to read them to you verbatim. So as you make your circle, you're going to say, "This circle protects me, those who may be drawn to me, and my home. No negative energy is in this space. Only love and healing fill this place. I call upon the ancient powers of the goddess." You can use the word universe if that resonates more with you, or God. "And I ask for help and protection. All that I ask for is with good intentions. I work in love and in harmony with the universe. So mote it be." So once you've done that, you're going to make sure that you've got everything, all the things that you're going to use. So everything that you've identified, and you're going to bring it into the circle with you, because that's where you're going to stay for the rest of the spell work, and that's where you're going to do the work. So once you're in there, clear your mind and we're ready to begin. I've just noticed I've got a little screen up in the corner there, or there. It's really hard to know which way to point here. So you can see what I'm doing on the desk. It's really massively distracting because I can see my own hands moving when I'm talking. So please bear with me. So you're in your circle of salt. You're building your intention, you're building your energy. And now it's time to start doing the practical parts of the spell, shall we say. Right, so you've brought all your stuff into the circle with you. The first thing that we're going to do is create a petition. A petition is really telling the spell exactly what you want. And when you're writing a petition, I always say, don't leave any room for interpretation. Be really clear, no ambiguities. So when I say on this piece of paper, we're going to write 3, 6, or 9 qualities that we want this person to have, because we're working to a rule of 3, 6, and 9 in this spell. So we're going to write 3, 6, or 9 qualities. If I want to attract somebody who is funny and makes me laugh, I'm going to write and use present tense. He makes me laugh. I'm not going to write he is funny, because that could be interpreted in many different ways, or he has a good sense of humour, even, because his sense of humour might be good, but it might not be mine. So I'm going to write he makes me laugh. I'm going to write everything in present tense. So it's, for example, let's just do it. So these are my petitions. for the partner I'm bringing into my life. He makes me laugh. If you write this in the middle of your petition, because you're going to draw a circle around it as well, so make sure that you leave yourself room. He makes me laugh. He is kind to animals. And finally, I'm going to write, he is tall. Now, that might sound a little bit shallow, but don't you worry about being shallow when you're writing your manifestation for bringing love into your life, because human beings are visual creatures, and you're manifesting somebody that you're going to be attracted to physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. All those things are part of the human package. So don't feel that you're being shallow if you want to write, you know, he or she is blonde or tall or thin or fat or whatever. Okay, it's between you and the universe. All right, there's no need to sort of, you know, try to pretend that we don't think about things visually, or think about things like, oh, I want somebody who has some money or anything like that. Be entirely honest. So I've got 3 conditions on my petition now. He makes me laugh. He is kind to animals. He is tall. Now you're going to turn the petition round 90 degrees and you're going to write your full birth name across those petitions. You're going to cover all of them with your full birth name 9 times. I say birth name and I mean the name that you were given first. So not your maiden name. It's the first name that you know. All right. So even if you had a name and then you were adopted and you weren't sure of your original name, that doesn't matter. It's the first name that you know yourself by, and the universe will know you by. So we're going to write that name 9 times. So just bear with me while I write my name 9 times on that petition, going across the qualities that I've asked for. My writing is not good anymore. And it's also quite difficult to do this and talk to you at the same time, because it's the first time I've done it. But I will do more, so I will be practiced more if you subscribe to the channel. 5, 6, 7, 8. Now all these instructions are written out in the download that I've prepared for you of the whole thing, almost verbatim. And that's why I keep looking over here, because I'm making sure that as much as possible, because I do tend to digress, I'm making sure that I'm following exactly what's written down for you to follow, so you can do this exactly as I'm doing it. Obviously you're going to be outside or on you know, inside using a salt circle. Unfortunately, I'm sitting here in front of a laptop, but I'm just showing you how to do it. So I've now got my full name written 9 times, 90 degrees angle across. Those were the original conditions that I asked for. So the original qualities I asked for, I wrote that way, turned the paper round and wrote my name 9 times across them, my full birth name. Now you're going to draw a magic circle around what you've done. So it doesn't have to be a perfect circle, but what is important is that your pen doesn't leave the paper from when you start the circle to when you join the circle. Circles are really magical because they have no beginning and no end, and that's why you don't want a broken circle. All right. And as you draw your circle, you're going to say this either 3, 6 or 9 times. Universe, I implore you, bring this person to my door, so mote it be. Right. Universe, I implore you, bring this person to my door, so mote it be. Universe, I implore you, bring this person to my door, so mote it be. Universe, I implore you, bring this person to my door, so mote it be. So that's my petition finished. Now my circle is a bit of a square, but it doesn't matter. Okay, it's circular-ish. And you can spend longer on yours if you want, because you'll be doing this without having to actually talk somebody through it on the laptop at the same time. Right, so that's my My head's gone blank. That's my petition. I only said permission. Once you've done it, I want you to get the oil that you've put aside. So I've got my lavender oil here. Just put a little bit on your finger. Hold your petition and then stroke the petition towards your heart. And at the same time, I would say the same words. Universe, I implore you, bring this person to my door. Turn it 90 degrees. Do it again. Universe, I implore you, bring this person to my door. Fold the petition towards your heart. Turn it 90 degrees. Fold it again towards your heart. Now, what I need you to do is roll that piece of paper. So you're going to make it into a nice roll like this. And then take some of your red ribbon or embroidery thread or string, whatever you're using. And then you're going to tie that. It's a little bit fiddly, so bear with me. You're going to tie that. So it's like you're creating a little parchment here. Use whatever knot you feel like using. I use whichever one I can do because I'm not a great tyer of knots. Right, so I'm just wrapping some of that around like that just to hold it together. So that's my finished petition. So this is going to go in the jar with the things that you chose as well. So open your jar. And first of all, we're going to put the petition into the jar. And when I put it in, I'm going to use the words, Universe, I implore you, bring this person to my door. It's the first thing. Now remember those little items that I chose. I had the scent for the magic, which is my hair. You could choose a photograph, a piece of your clothes, nail clippings, hair, signature on a piece of paper, something that's been close to you, even a piece of jewelry. This is going to tell the spell, it's going to set them off like a bloodhound. Okay, so this goes in the jar. Again, Universe, I implore you, bring this person to my door. Next item for me, it was 2 clothes. Remember, you chose 3, 6 or 9 items, some of them counting as 1. The pairs of things count as 1. Don't forget that all this is written down in detail on the instructions, and I'm following them verbatim to make sure that you've got the same, I'm giving you the same instructions that you'll see when you read the download. So, Universe, I implore you, bring this person to my door. Next one for me is the rose quartz. Universe, I implore you, bring this person to my door. And then finally, my little magnets. Universe, I implore you, bring this person to my door. Okay, so once all that's in there, you're going to put the lid on the jar, and that is your love jar, should we call it, completed. The next part of the spell is where we introduce the candles. Now this was the bit that I was thinking, this could all go terribly wrong, candle wax everywhere and candles not sticking to stuff. So do bear with me. I've put a piece of paper underneath my jar because I literally just don't want candle wax on my tablecloth. If you're working outside, be fantastic. If you're working on the ground, makes it a lot easier. If you're working indoors, be really careful with those candles. I know that you will be, but remember, never leave a naked flame alone, and just be really careful. Especially if you're wearing like flowing gowns or have flowing hair like me, just be careful with the naked flame bit. Right, so we're going to take the candles. You could have red candles, you could have pink candles, or you could have white candles like me. So one of them is you, one of them is the person that you're attracting into your life. So the one that's you, we're going to take a pin and scratch your full name into the candle. So that again is the first name that you recall being known by. And that's any middle names as well, your full name. So that's my candle with my full name. Now this candle, for the person as yet unknown that you're bringing into your life, what we're going to do is a symbolic heart and a question mark. Okay, so I'm scratching in a heart and a question mark. So we've now got a candle to symbolize me and a candle to symbolize the person that I'm bringing into my life. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to light both candles, and then the idea is to stick them to the lid of the jar using the wax from them. So this could be a little bit tricky, so just bear with me. Be really careful doing this. So both candles are burning together. I'm just going to invert them and try to get some of that hot wax onto the lid of the jar so that I can stick them down. Sometimes works perfectly, sometimes it doesn't. Right, once you've got your candles on top of the jar, what we can do is tie them together. So I'm going to cut some of the thread that I have. You can actually, as well, I should have said when I was scratching the name onto the candles, if you want to, you can actually anoint the candles with the oil as well. So you would just rub the candles with your chosen oil towards your body. Okay, so if you do that, that's fine too. Right, so I'm taking the thread and I'm going to tie those candles together. Be really careful of the flames. Use whatever knot that you want to. Just tie them together with that red cord, and that symbolizes the tie between you and that person that you're bringing into your life, the love that you're manifesting. And all the time that you're doing this, remember to really keep your energy high, to keep your focus on knowing that you're drawing that person to you. Okay, right. So you put your jar down, if you've had it in your hands, put it down into the salt circle and stay in your circle for some time and just direct your energy at those candle flames, again bringing to mind the person that you want to, or the characteristics of the person that you're drawing into your life. So really focus on those qualities that you wrote on the petition. So the things that you wanted to find, the 3, 6 or 9 qualities that you wrote down, really focus on that and then drawing that person to your life. Really focus on the candles, stay in your circle, build the energy, and just imagine how wonderful it will feel when you bring that person to you. Once you feel ready to leave the circle, and it could be in a few minutes, or you might want to spend as much as 20 minutes, half an hour, just building your intention. Once you're ready to leave, you're going to say these words: I thank the goddess, or God, or universe, whichever one you want to use, for her power and her protection. For all that I receive, I am now grateful. Begin. When you say begin, I want you to imagine a column of red or pink light just coming up from the candles and going up into your expanded conscious and universe, okay? And imagine it seeking, going out all over the universe, seeking for this ideal person that you've specified in order to bring them into your life. This is the fabulous part of this spell. If you're really sensitive to energy, you might actually feel that energy, or even see that energy rising up and going out to fulfill your wishes. Okay, right. Once you feel ready, you're going to extinguish the candles by nipping the wicks. So you might want to lick your fingers and just extinguish them like so. Once you feel ready, it's time to leave the circle and take your jar and your candles with you. So that's the main part of the spell done, and you've created your jar spell. There we go, there's mine. Now I want you to place your jar spell once it's completed and you've taken it out of the salt circle. I want you to place it somewhere where you'll see it. So could be, you know, in the kitchen or in the sitting room, or just somewhere where you know where it is. And just, you know, every now and again, when it draws your attention, let that energy of you know, drawing that person to you, let yourself feel that energy again. You might want to keep it away from, say, if somebody doesn't know what you're doing in the house, or somebody might sort of feel a bit negative about it, then put it somewhere out of their prying eyes, okay? So that it's just for you and you only. When you're done with your salt circle, the best way to deal with a salt circle is to sweep it up, and you can hoover it up if you want, and just make sure that you throw the salt out into the earth so that it returns to where it came from. And that's most of the spell done. However, what you need to do is repetition. So we've done that one time, so you need to repeat what we've done from the part where you're in the salt circle with the candles. Your candles, so go into your salt, spread your salt circle, go into the salt circle with your spell jar, light the candles, and put your intention into the spell. Again, imagine yourself with that person, imagine how good it will feel. When you're ready to leave the circle, you say, I thank the goddess for her power and protection. For all I receive, I am grateful. Now begin. And then see that red or pink column of energy coming up from the candles and seeking out that person. Wait with the energy until it feels right. Nip out your candles, leave your circle of salt, sweep your circle of salt up, give it back to the earth. So I want you to do that 3, 6, or 9 times. There's no need to write the petition again. Obviously, there's no need to scratch the candles. There's no need to do anything. You just need to use the same jar. So on the final night, when you do that, whether you decide to do it 3, 6, or 9 times, let the candles burn right the way down to the jar. And this is where I'd say be really careful. Make sure that, you know, you don't cause a fire. Make sure they go right the way down to the jar. Leave the puddle of wax on top of the jar, so you'll end up with it. It'll probably sort of cascade down the edges as well. So you might want to put the whole thing, the whole jar, onto a heat-proof plate as well. Once it's once you've done that, and once you've finished 3, 6, or 9 times, and your candles are burnt out, again, keep the jar somewhere where it's really close to you and you can see it, but it's away from prying eyes. Now, sometimes I put mine under my bed because it's a real, it's somewhere where your subconscious is quite open when you're asleep and in the dream state. So magic tends to manifest better. So if you want to put it under your bed, if you have a bed that you can get things under, that would be fantastic. Or you can just put it on a shelf where you can see it and direct your energy, direct your attention to it, and leave it there until the person comes into your life. Okay, now be patient. It can take these spells a little while to work. Some of them work really quickly and it's amazing, and I hope that you will email me, naomi@skyspirit.co.uk, and let me know when this works. But sometimes they can take a little bit of time. It depends on, I guess, logistically, it depends on where your person is and what their circumstances are. It can also mean that if there's energy blocks or things like that, or if that person has energy blocks and things, then it can take a little while to work, but it will work. It will bring that love you've been looking for into your life. Once that person has arrived, take your spell jar and bury it in the earth. Okay, if you can do it in your garden, that's fantastic. Sacred space outside, even better. If you don't have a garden and you live in a city, perhaps a park, or at worst case scenario, bury it in a big flower pot in your house. And then you can have a lovely pot plant as well. So that is your love manifestation spell, and I know it's a bit long-winded, and this is why I did the printable downloads for you, so that you can follow exactly what I've been doing. I've lost half the paper now. Oh yeah. So you can follow exactly what I've been doing in the download, and remember that's on my website for free, skyspirit.co.uk. Go to the YouTube page, and halfway down that page I've put there's a little title. It says love manifestation spell or something, download, and there's a button, and you can download that as a PDF to your computer or phone, and then you've got it forever. Remember, there's 3 spells in there: self-love, love without a target, love with a target. Use that one very wisely. Okay, it's been lovely to talk to you. I hope that wasn't too confusing. I hope that my digressions weren't too distracting. I'll see you in the morning for some more tarot, and stay weird.